In Guatemala, the Constitutional Court warns that it will remove 2 ministers from the office if tensions at the important dam in the country are not resolved. In Palestine, the Interior Ministry raises alerts in view of a likely environmental crisis, while rescue teams working on Gaza estimate that there are over 1,000 corpses under the debris. And President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, called on the international community to take responsibility for the serious humanitarian crisis suffered by thousands in Gaza. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Belén de los Santos from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The political and institutional crisis in Guatemala worsens and reaches other levels of national government. The Constitutional Court warns that it will remove 2 ministers from office if tensions at an important dam in the country are not resolved. The alleged invasion of the Tesoro Dam, located in Chamaltenango in the east of the country, opened a new front of confrontation between the powers of the state. The Minister of Government, the Minister of National Defense, and the Director of the National Police received a warning from the highest judicial instance of the country to retake control within 6 hours after the notification of the referred dam. The situation has left several areas of the capital without water. And Guatemalan social organizations carry on their rallies for another day, keeping a state of siege in several domestic areas to defend democracy. The siege of roads pursues in the west mainly, whereas the southern coast is free. Authorities informed that dozens of trucks have been stopped. However, demonstrators kept their siege, passing through from time to time. Several organizations announced several rallies on Monday in the country's capital.
We have planned that tomorrow we will leave for the capital city. All the authorities gather here, and also our communities in the west of San Juan, to continue expressing this rejection. So we ask the people of San Juan for their support. Do not see us as people who are doing something bad, but on the contrary. There are many who would also like to express, but maybe there is not organization or authority to lead them. We have organized our communities in a planned way, so that everything we do is for the good of all.
In Honduras, at least 4 migrants died and 20 others were injured after a bus collapsed northwest of Tegucigalpa. The accident occurred at approximately 4 a.m. local time when the bus took a dangerous curve and fell into the Higuito River on a highway in the western part of the country. It was officially announced that the collective vehicle was heading towards the border of Agua Caliente with migrants on board. The fire department of the region informed that all the injured were taken to the health centers to receive the necessary medical attention. And Daniel Noboa won Ecuador's presidential election on Sunday in a campaign marked by rising violence and the country's poor economic situation. The center-right political outsider defeated Luisa González, this candidate for Citizen Revolution movement, who ran on a pledge of returning to a time of prosperity and low homicide rates under Rafael Correa's government. Noboa received more than 52% of the vote compared with González's 47.7%, with more than 20% of votes counted. González acknowledged her defeat in a speech and thanked the militancy for their support.
Por supuesto. To the candidate, now President-elect Daniel Noboa, our deepest congratulations, because it is democracy. We have never called to set fire to a city, and we have never gone out shouting fraud.
And for his part, the now President-elect Daniel Noboa affirmed that he will begin working on the reconstruction of the country.
Today, we close a chapter of campaign. Tomorrow, we begin working for this new Ecuador. Tomorrow, we begin working to rebuild a country that has been severely battered by violence, corruption, and hatred. Since tomorrow, hope begins to work. Since tomorrow, Daniel Noboa, your President of the Republic, begins to work. Thank you very much.
And let's take a short break. But remember, you can follow us on TikTok at TeleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Rescue teams are working on Gaza estimate that there are over 1,000 corpses under the debris. Hence, the Interior Ministry raises alerts in view of a likely environmental crisis. The ministry spokesperson, Ayed Al-Bassoun, stated that due to Israel's ongoing attacks, rescue tasks have been hindered. Several volunteers have been murdered, whereas they were trying to save survivors. Meanwhile, the Health Ministry updated the final briefing on the death toll. Following a lethal onslaught between Sunday evening and early Monday, the figure of death amounts to 2,750 and the injuries reaches 9,700.
This is what the Palestinian people are in dire need to have, bottles of water. We have been seeing hundreds of Palestinians who fled their homes in northern Gaza and also central Gaza City coming here to the Shuhada Al-Aqsa Hospital in order to fill the bottles of water with water from the tanks in the hospital. However, the hospital is saying that the water tanks that they have might finish anytime soon. Israel on Tuesday ordered a total siege of the Gaza Strip, stopping water, electricity, fuel, food supplies, medicine and medical supplies from entering the Gaza Strip, which made the situation here in Gaza is to go from bad to worse. However, there is news that Rafah border will be open today. Egypt will open Rafah border in order to allow foreigners to get out of Gaza and also to allow humanitarian aid to enter the Gaza Strip. And this is such a relief for the Palestinian people. If it happened at the same time, they will be able to get out from their shelters, go back to their homes, maybe collect some clothes or food that they left in their homes and bring it back to their shelters, especially that there's a news that Israel will not to strike the Gaza Strip during these 5 hours of opening the Rafah border. This is Noor Harazin, TeleSUR, Gaza.
And the president of Egypt, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, called on the international community on Monday to take responsibility for the serious humanitarian crisis suffered by thousands in Gaza. The head of state has insisted on his call for ceasefire and rejected the policies of collective punishment, siege, starvation, and displacement of civilians. He stated this during a meeting with French Foreign Minister Caterina Colonna. The spokesman for the presidential office, Ahmed Fahmy, added that both the head of state and the French diplomat agreed on the importance of resolving the Palestinian issue in a just and comprehensive manner. The Egypt National Security Council reaffirmed that a Palestinian state is the only solution to the crisis. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has reiterated his call to Israeli authorities to allow humanitarian aid to enter Gaza. He also appealed to the Hamas organization to initiate a coordinated release of hostages. The diplomat assured that the region is on the brink of an abyss and insisted on humanitarian appeals. He detailed that they have sufficient stocks of food, water, medical supplies, and fuel in Egypt, Jordan, and the West Bank, and Israel that can be sent in a matter of hours to the enclave. The agency's Humanitarian Affairs Office added that for the past week, Israel has not allowed supplies to enter Gaza. The foreign ministers of China, Iran, and Turkey held telephone talks in recent hours with a view to resolve the crisis between Israel and Palestine. The Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir-Abdollahian has asked his Chinese counterpart Wang Yi to intervene so that Israel puts an end to the killing of Palestinian civilians in Gaza. The Chinese top diplomat assured that the priority at this moment is to de-escalate the situation to avoid an even worse catastrophe than the one that has already left hundreds of women and children dead. For his part, the foreign minister of Turkey, Hakan Fidan, supported his Chinese counterpart by assuring that it is imperative to reach a ceasefire and reject the punitive measures of Israel. On Sunday, Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas received a telephone call from his Venezuelan counterpart Nicolás Maduro. They discussed the latest difficult developments in the Palestinian territories. President Abbas stressed the need to immediately stop the Israeli aggression against the Palestinian people, provide them with protection, and allow the urgent opening of humanitarian corridors to the Gaza Strip, and provide the population with medical supplies, water, electricity, and fuel. Abbas renewed his total rejection of the displacement of the people of the Gaza Strip. On the other hand, Maduro stressed that his government demands an immediate ceasefire and the establishment of humanitarian corridors to assist the population, as well as the re-establishment of international legality through compliance with the resolutions of the UN and respect for the commitments of the parties in each of the negotiations carried out. Expressions of support and solidarity with the Palestinian people continue throughout the world. Several countries mobilized to reject Israeli genocide in the Gaza Strip.
Hundreds of people from the Palestinian community in Chile rallied in front of the presidential palace in Santiago to express their support for the Palestinian people and called for an end to the Israeli siege against Gaza and West Bank territories. From the Vatican, Pope Francisco expressed his concern for the civilians in Palestine and Israel and urged the parties to respect humanitarian rights in the face of shortage of food, water, and security for Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. Across the continent of Oceania, Australian demonstrators held a prayer to kick off the protests. As people gathered in silence around the Palestinian flag, activists read a manifesto to enshrine Palestine as a free homeland.
I am here in solidarity with the innocent people of Gaza. I am here to make sure that we are not just two sides. Our governments here should have to see both sides. There are innocent people in Gaza and there are innocent people on the other side.
And finally, from the European continent, some 10,000 activists in the Netherlands gathered in Amsterdam's Dam Square to march for a Palestine free from siege and illegal occupation of Israel.
And we have a second short break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English. There you will be able to re-watch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date in the world's most recent events. Final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Poland, politician and former president of the European Council, Donald Tusk, could take the post of prime minister again. Tusk claimed his landslide victory after disclosing the election polls, which places the Governor of Liberty and Justice Party as the most voted, but not counting on the majority to continue in the government. Exit polls provide 36.8% of votes for Governor's Party, which would be translated in 200 parliamentarians out of 460 seats. The opposition party altogether would count up 248 seats, and 3 groups provided to have affinity in a campaign post with an opposition against the ruling party. And China's Foreign Minister Wang Yi received his Russian counterpart Sergei Lavrov on Monday, who is visiting the Asian nation in preparation for the International Forum of the Belt and Road. The diplomats exchanged views on bilateral issues and on the upcoming visit of President Vladimir Putin to Beijing. On the subject, the Chinese foreign minister stated that the presence of the Russian president at the International Forum will make a very important contribution and promote strategic interaction between the two countries. The foreign ministers also discussed regional and global issues. President Vladimir Putin affirmed that the armed forces of Ukraine failed in the new attempts to carry out offensive actions against Russian territories. During an interview, the Russian president defined that the Ukrainian narrative of an alleged blockade of its counteroffensive has also completely failed. The Russian head of state noted that the Kiev maintains its plan to continue attacks on the civilian population in the Donbas region and acknowledged at the same time that the Ukrainian army has been preparing new offensives in other directions. In response, Vladimir Putin stressed that Russian troops are improving their positions in almost the entire Slavic space, also added that they will react immediately to invading attacks. In an interview with China Central Television, CCTV, Russian President Vladimir Putin praised the long-term strategic approach to decision-making embraced by Chinese President Xi Jinping, calling the Chinese leader a practical and reliable partner. Putin also highlighted aspects of Xi's leadership that set him apart from his peers.
President Xi Jinping is one of the world's recognized leaders. Instead of making decisions based on a short period or a single incident, he makes long-term plans for the future based on analysis and assessment on the situation. This is very important, and it is what differentiates the true world leaders from what we call temps. Temps only show off on the world stage for about 5 minutes before becoming lost to world history. However, President Xi is another kind of person. He is a persistent, calm, practical and reliable partner. Once we reach consensus, we can make sure both sides abide by our agreements. One of our meetings was really pleasant. At the time, President Xi was visiting Russia and we went to St. Petersburg together. We boarded the Aurora Cruiser and sailed on the Neva River in an absolutely peaceful and kind atmosphere. We had a long and detailed conversation about bilateral relations and the world situation. Not so long ago, in March, President Xi paid another visit to Russia. It was once again a very pragmatic visit, which is of great significance to the future development of Russia-China ties. Therefore, I hope when we meet again in China, the tradition will continue.
Russian President Vladimir Putin has said the Belt and Road Initiative, the BRI, has shown China's desire to boost win-win cooperation, which is fully consistent with Russia's vision of developing the Eurasian Economic Union. In an exclusive interview with China Media Group recently, Putin praised the vision and results of the BRI over the past decade since it rolled out. Over the past 10 years, the Belt and Road Initiative has turned from an idea into a reality and has yielded fruitful results. Putin also pointed out that one of the most important features of the China proposed initiatives is that there is no imposition on others, no coercion, but there are opportunities. The Belt and Road Initiative, proposed by China in 2013, has brought tangible benefits to participating countries and has contributed significantly to global economic recovery by fostering infrastructure interconnectivity.
10 years ago, President Xi Jinping introduced the Belt and Road Initiative. I believe this initiative is timely and has made positive progress as it aims to unite the efforts of all countries in achieving the goal of common development. This initiative represents an excellent and correct top-level design that is continually evolving and being implemented. Yes, someone may view it as an attempt by China to conquer others, but our observations suggest otherwise. What we witness is a desire for cooperation, so we welcome President Xi Jinping's initiative and are willing to collaborate with China to promote the implementation of the initiative. We have a vision of developing the Eurasian Economic Union, such as building a greater Eurasia, which aligns perfectly with China's Belt and Road Initiative.
And in other news, in Nigeria, at least 100 people were killed and around 200 injured after a series of airstrikes launched by the army in the northwest of the country against irregular armed groups. The Nigerian Air Force confirmed that it had carried out bombing raids in the northwestern state of Zamfara on Tuesday. The operation was carried out after the armed forces received reports that these criminal groups had gathered with the intention of attacking villages and nearby military base on the border between Zamfara, Kebbi, and Niger states. The northwestern and central states of Nigeria have been the site of operation for gangs carrying out illegal acts against residents in rural areas where the state presence is weak. And we have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories at our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media: Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Belén de los Santos. Thank you for watching.